Okay, I tried to do this audio on my phone, but for whatever reason, it wouldn't play on the. It wouldn't play back on the homepage. So I'm just going to do it here, video, tape it. And this is just an example. You don't have to do video. You can do audio. Just make sure I can hear the audio. Uh, you don't want to write assignment number 2. This is a play-by-play class. We're teaching you to be play-by-play people. We're teaching you how to prepare. So I'm going to give you the option, and I hope you take it, of recording it or videotaping. You're open. This is going to be like I'm doing it on the radio. This won't be like me looking at the television camera. So pay no attention to that. But I'm going to talk about Texas Tech. You cannot talk about Texas Tech. Okay? So we're going to go, and this will be it. This will be, if you want to do an audio or video, it needs to be something like this, containing a lot of the things that I'm about to talk about. So here we go. I'm going to do it like I'm doing a radio show. Welcome back. We are talking about Texas Tech, the Red Raiders in Michigan, the first game of the College World Series. Later on today, we will have Arkansas and Florida State, the other side of this bracket. Tomorrow will be the other bracket that'll include Vanderbilt and Louisville, Mississippi State, and Auburn. 4 SEC teams here, 2 ACC teams, 1 Big 12 team, and 1 team from the Big Ten. The Big Ten and Big 12 team playing here in this first game. Today, Texas Tech and Michigan faced each other earlier this year in Lubbock. Texas Tech won all 3 games of the series, sweeping the Wolverines in Lubbock, but Michigan went on to finish second place in the Big 12, in the Big Ten rather, and qualified for postseason tournament. And they surprised top-seeded UCLA to get here to Omaha. For Texas Tech, this is the Red Raiders' 4th trip to Omaha in the last 6 years. Texas Tech had never been to Omaha before Tim Tadlock became the head coach 7 years ago. In his 7 seasons, Coach Tadlock has led the Red Raiders to the College World Series 4 of the last 6 years as well. On top of that, they have been dominant in the Big 12. Texas Tech has won 3 of the last 4 Big 12 titles, regular season titles, including winning it this year by a game over Baylor and Oklahoma State. Interestingly enough, the Big 12 is the second highest RPI conference in the country this year, but Texas Tech, the only team from the Big 12 to make it. Texas Tech not just happy to be here this year. The Red Raiders, having lost 2 and out in their first 2 years here in Omaha in 2014 and 2016. Last year, the program recorded its first ever win in Omaha, defeating Florida in the first game of the College World Series before then losing to Arkansas and then back again to Florida in a rain-delayed College World Series last year. But Texas Tech comes in this year with really high hopes. A lot of people think the Red Raiders on this side of the bracket are the favorite to come out and play in the championship series against a team from the other side of the bracket. For Texas Tech offensively, this is a very offensive program and second best offensive team in the Big 12 when it comes to batting average, but most runs in the league by a large margin. And so the Red Raiders are led at the plate by Cameron Warren, the senior, was really all over the Big 12 in offensive statistics. Cam hit 354 this year, which was second best in the league. He was right there among the league leaders in home runs with 17. He led the team with 17 home runs. He was just behind Colin Simpson and Trevor Boone of Oklahoma State, who the Red Raiders defeated in the Super Regional last weekend. Cam also led the league in RBIs by a huge margin. He had 76 RBIs. Second best in the league was Trevor Boone from Oklahoma State with 57. Cam had 3 home runs in the regional series in Lubbock 2 weeks ago. 1 against Army, 2 against Dallas Baptist, and the 2 games against Dallas Baptist when Tech swept through the Lubbock Regional on its way to the Super Regional, and the Red Raiders defeated Oklahoma State 2 of 3 to advance here to Omaha. Besides Cam Warren, also for the Red Raiders, a guy a lot of people clearly talking about, and that's Josh Young. Josh, the junior, this will be his last year at Texas Tech. He was drafted by the Texas Rangers early on in the draft, the 8th pick overall, second highest ever pick of a Red Raider in the Major League Baseball draft. This one by the Texas Rangers with the 8th pick. Cam Warren actually picked by the Cincinnati Reds. And Cam, a senior, obviously this will be his last few games in a Texas Tech lineup. Josh, 342 on the year, 14 home runs, 56 runs batted in. Really did a nice job of setting up Cam Warren. Josh typically this year has been hitting cleanup, and Cam's been hitting 5th. when Gabe Holt, we'll talk about it in a minute, went out injured last weekend. Josh moved up to the 3-hole, and Cam hit cleanup in that series. Josh, a lot of people give him a lot of credit. He's the co-Big 12 Player of the Year. He's the Bobby Bragan Award winner. Josh moved to shortstop this year from third base. He's expected to play third in professional baseball, but only 6 errors on the year. This guy really, a lot of people pointed to Josh moving to shortstop as being a turning point for the Red Raiders this year, as the Tech had been maybe struggling a little bit mid-season. Moved Josh to short. That kind of opened things up at third. Parker Kelly, Drew Baker kind of split some time there at third base. But Josh Young has been really the glue that's held this team together really for 3 years now, but especially this year. Third guy I want to talk about is Gabe Holt. Gabe left the Oklahoma State Sunday game with an injury, a hand injury. Don't know the extent of that, how serious it'll be, whether he can play in Omaha or not. But Gabe really makes things go for the Red Raiders, hitting .320 on the year. 28 stolen bases for Gabe, so really he is a menace on the base pass. Josh Holliday, the Oklahoma State head coach, said that never seen a batter with better hand-eye coordination than Gabe Holt. So hopefully Gabe will be able to play and be back out in right field. On the mound for the Red Raiders, a couple of freshmen will lead them. And that starts with the starter, Micah Dallas. Micah went 7-0 on the year, 3.38 earned run average. First collegiate year. He got his first start as a collegiate pitcher against Michigan earlier this year in Lubbock. He went 5 innings and did not allow a run in those 5 innings. Micah was really good against Army in the College World or in the NCAA tournament opener, and then he pitched the first game against Oklahoma State last weekend, shut down that explosive Cowboy lineup. He has been really the guy, the Friday night guy for Texas Tech this year, so he will get the ball against Michigan. And again, he goes out there with a little comfort knowing that he shut the Wolverines down back in March when they visited Lubbock. Mentioned another freshman. How about the freshman Clayton Beater? He's a redshirt freshman, but he leads the team with 8 saves. He's a hard-throwing pitcher for Texas Tech. And again, for Clayton and Micah both, will the stage be too big for them? Will the bright lights really get to them being in College World Series? It's the greatest show on dirt, and you hope both those guys will be able to handle the pressure. You would think playing in the Big 12, that won't be a problem. Another guy to look for the Red Raiders, John McMillan. Big John went 3-3 on the year, but he had 3 saves, but that's not the story for John. He's really been a shutdown guy for Texas Tech. He hit 102 on the radar gun earlier this year. The guy, the thing that has made John really more effective this year is the fact he's been able to use some off-speed stuff to offset that fastball, which again can go anywhere from high 90s to the low 100s. And so he is a guy that's really dominant, and you might see him be the first guy out of the bullpen for Coach Tadlock this weekend against Michigan in the first game. The winner of the Tech-Michigan game will move on to play the winner of the Arkansas-Florida State game. Losers will also meet. Both those games will be on Monday, but hopefully Micah Dallas can get the Red Raiders off to the right start here in the first game against Michigan. We'll have that when we come back here. First game of the College World Series, Texas Tech and Michigan. So again, I didn't have that written down. I'm just trying to remember all that, but that just gives you an example if you want to record something of what you might do. And again, I'm not going to worry about how it looks, or really the audio quality. I just want to be able to hear you hit some of the high points of the team and the individual players that we talked about in the assignment.